Raids. People freaking love them. So in this video, instead of talking about what's the best raid, what makes this raid better than this raid, blah, 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 I want to get into the essence of a raid. And I want to talk about the 5 best raid encounters we've ever gotten from my subjective standpoint. Obviously, this is my opinion. Please leave your lists down in the comment section below and let me know why you agree or disagree with my picks. Now, only 25% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed, and that is freaking absurd. So if you want to help us on the road to 75,000 subscribers, you enjoy the videos, you want to see more things like this, please consider subscribing. And one really important announcement: tomorrow, December 6th, from 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern to reset time, which is 12 Eastern, I've been an invited streamer to Bungie's fundraiser for G2G. And you guys might have seen a lot of these streams going around recently. If you donate, you get emblems and a ghost shell, and there's a ton of other incentives. So for my block, what we are doing tomorrow morning, me and 2 of my clanmates, we're going to be 3-manning Deep Stone Crypt. And every time you guys donate, you can make my life as difficult as possible. You can pick my loadouts, you can make us wipe the encounter, and if you're insane enough, and you want to help the kids enough, 100% of all these proceeds go to local children's hospitals, by the way, as always with the G2G fundraisers. If you donate enough, you can make us a restart the entire challenge. And when we hit $5,000 raised total, which we're actually pretty close to already, I will be doing the 1 chip challenge on stream tomorrow, which is exciting. And yeah, so that's tomorrow. Please come out, show your support for the kids. I'm really excited. It'll be a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys there. But let's get into it. So, top 5 best encounters ever. Now, to start this off, I wanted to start with a kind of non-traditional encounter. As you guys will see, most of mine are really big, extravagant, really complex boss fights, because that's what I personally like. So I thought it was really important to start off this list with something maybe a little bit more obtainable. Not every single fight can be an end boss fight. So what can Bungie do to make raid encounters more interesting that aren't the final encounter? And I think the Siege engine from Wrath of the Machine does this absolutely perfectly. Who doesn't love the Death Zamboni? This is a really interesting encounter because encounters are very commonly structured like songs, right? You kind of have verses, you go through things, and then there's damage phases, and this is kind of like your verse. And so it's very cyclical in nature, you know, it's a very defined structure of the song. You might have a final stand as like a related to like a breakdown in a song or something. But what I love about the Siege engine encounter is it's very linear. It's very non-cyclical. You will never repeat the same activity twice in this encounter, which is really cool. You start off, Siege engine is coming towards you. You have to destroy the faceplate of the Siege engine, do enough damage to something, make it blow up, jump over it, go to the end, kill a ton of splicers, get the parts for the Siege engine or the Death Zamboni, bring them back through massive amounts of enemies, and fix the engine before it blows up in a nuclear explosion and kills everyone. That is a really, really cool encounter. The music is amazing. It really gets your heart pumping. The mechanics, they're not very complex. It's pretty much protect the hell out of your teammates with a lot of kind of, I don't want to say exploits, but with a couple exploits and a lot of coordination, you can low man this. I think someone's even soloed it, which is incredible. And all in all, I think this really speaks to the fact that raid encounters don't have to be this huge, over the top, insanely vibrant killing of gods. You can just be fixing some guy's machine that he accidentally took the engine block out of, and it's gonna blow up and kill everyone. It's a really fun encounter. It's really non-traditional, and I think a lot. I wish we saw more of this sort of thing in future raids. I love non-traditional encounters, things that make you think outside of the box, and I think the Siege engine did a brilliant job of bringing this to the forefront. So now in the number 4 slot, we have Galron from Crown of Sorrow. Now, I know a lot of people don't rank Crown of Sorrow very high on their raid tier list. There are a lot of filler encounters in this raid that make it feel very tedious, but the Galron encounter has always been a favorite of mine. My favorite thing in Destiny, my favorite raid types of encounters, which you'll see going down this list, are encounters that have multiple layers of mechanics that all overlap, cause players to do different things, but they're timed perfectly and they relate perfectly, where it makes this nice, really just awesome flow. And so Galron has 3 of these if you think about it. So you start off, you have essentially 3 teams of 2 that have a Witching's Blessing, and you have to balance this so it doesn't kill you. You have to, you know, bounce it back and forth while you're killing knights and ogres to progress to the damage phase. And so that's the first kind of two systems. You have to balance this buff that will kill you if you're not careful while killing things to progress. In addition to that, you have the rotating crystals around the map that you have to destroy. And so here you have three separate kind of mechanical instances that you have to perfectly communicate and balance, and also keep comms clear to help out maybe a teammate lost a buff or something like that. After you hit the deception, you have to rebuff a teammate. All of these things, it flows super well. And then it comes together really nicely where you each have a Galron to deal with. You stun him, you break his hands, and then you break his head. And then it all comes together, it all culminates at a head at the apex of the entire encounter, and you have to go to one side and you do a lot of damage. Honestly, this encounter is pretty much perfect in my eyes. I can't suggest a single way to make this a better encounter. It flows absolutely magnificently. I love it. I just think it's a really, really solid encounter that really speaks to what I love about raids in Destiny. It can also be low manned, which is really cool. I also really like in these, we'll talk about this more, I really like when the mechanics they're not player locked. And so if you're good enough, or you push yourself far enough, or you know, you think intelligently enough, you can recover this, right? If someone dies in this, it's not an instant wipe. You can salvage a run here, which I think is really cool. So that's why I put it in the number 4 spot. Just a really big encounter, really cool, and just a lot of fun. Now, the number 3 encounter, Argos, Eater of Worlds, the encounter out of every raid that I personally have spent the most time in. When I soloed this encounter, it took me about 20 hours, so maybe, actually I think it's a little bit more than that. But it really made me understand how beautifully of a crafted encounter Argos is. So first off, it personally has what I believe to be the best boss arena out of anything in Destiny of all time. The way that Argos's arena is crafted is absolutely perfect. There's minor jump puzzles. They don't really hinder your progress. It looks really fun. It fits within the lore. And more importantly, it's aesthetically brilliant. It looks really cool. You have the ring of fire around you. You have the 3 separate arenas that are easily distinguishable from each other. It makes for really good callouts. It makes for really smooth gameplay transitions. And all around, I just think that the arena works perfectly into the mechanics of the fight, which is incredibly important. Now, for the mechanics themselves, I think they are really cool. So you start off the fight, you pick up Vex Craniums, you take them to the spot that correspond to the orbs on Argos's shield, you cook them in the elemental fires of goodness or something, and then you break the shield, you do damage. After damage, you have to break 2 of Argos's spots to stun him. And all in all, it's a fairly simple encounter, but the way it's laid out is very nice. And everything is communicated to you in a very cool way. When you're shooting the orbs and breaking the shield, it really does make you feel powerful, and it gives you super energy back, which really just kind of adds to that feeling of explosive light, and you're really, once again, the encounter's coming to a head, which is really cool. I love when encounters make you feel epic. And then when you're stunning his shield, the music, the screen designs that have like the purple shooting lines and stuff, this makes you feel like you're in a dire situation and that you are about to wipe and you need to do something. I think it flows together really well. Now, I also really like the optional mechanics. You only need 3 Vex Skulls and you get 6. And so you can have a couple different strategies with this. You can cook a couple extra skulls to use as extra damage, which was very common, especially when the raid first came out, because damage was quite tough on this boss. Or you can predict by, using it will be 1 element to the left, and you can predict what the next shield is going to be, so you can break the shield twice in a single damage phase, getting that extra damage you need. Now, not a lot of people do that second one, but it's really cool that you have the option. It allows for a lot of fun challenges and things like that, or maybe if you're struggling on solo or 2-man damage, you can get those extra breaks to help you out. And the fact that all of these mechanics work together well enough with no debuff, no lockout, anything like that, so you can solo it or low man it, is absolutely beautiful. So I absolutely love the Argos encounter. It is pretty much perfect in my eyes. It's crafted really well. So that's why it's number 3 on this list. And now we go back to Wrath of the Machine for my second favorite raid encounter of all time. This is gonna be Axis. Now, the first thing that makes the Axis encounter incredible is the aesthetic, pure aesthetic. Bungie really went all out here. They just injected it right into your veins. It is unlike any boss arena that we have had up to this point. It's actually quite small for a final boss arena, but it looks really cool. The environment, the music, all of the particle effects, everything about this raid encounter is absolutely perfect. Now, another thing that makes the Axis encounter really cool are the elemental cannons that you have to use throughout. So you start the fight, Axis does some shooty boys, you gotta dodge them a little bit, you can't stand in the Siva clouds. Then 3 captains spawn that you kill, and you take their corresponding randomized elemental scorch cannons. So I guess not always scorch cannons, scorch, arc, or void cannons. And then you have to use these to kill corresponding servitors to get balls to stun Axis, which is really cool. Then after you stun him, 3 random people, I believe it's been a while, will become empowered. Axis will teleport around. You have to physically jump on Axis's back and stun him if you are an empowered person. And that is one of the coolest mechanics of all time. You're literally like just dominating the boss. You are forcing him into submission. Really cool. After you do this a couple of times, get some shorter damage phases, then you get a very long damage phase, and then he does this white mechanic where you have to go stand on the pillars in the back of the map. The pillars are really cool. It shows you very easily visually how many encounters you have left or how many damage phases you have left. Very, very cool. And then also, you have the optional mechanic where if you are an empowered player that is empowered, but you're not close enough to Axis to slam, there are glowing vents around the map that you can slam on to give everyone their super and ability energy back, I believe. Once again, it's been a little bit, but these optional kind of more difficult mechanics that reward you are really, really, really freaking cool. So the entire fight culminates in a final stand where you just have a little bit of time to do as much damage as possible to Axis. You can use the leftover cannons if you have to. All in all, a beautifully crafted encounter. And once again, it flows really well. It looks incredible. It sounds incredible. And it's just a really freaking awesome encounter. Now, my favorite raid encounter of all time is going to be Riven of 1,000 Voices. I cannot express enough how perfect this encounter is. And I feel so bad because I know, let's say 80% of you guys watching have probably never done this encounter legit. And so I implore you, please get a team together at some point and do this encounter legit. It is the most perfectly, beautifully, expertly crafted encounter of all time. And honestly, it will be hard for any encounter in the future to beat it. The entire aesthetic of the encounter, the flow, everything's super cool. So it breaks your teams into two teams of 3. And then while one team is staggering Riven to get her eye combinations, the other team is killing a captain, cleansing a certain spot in order to activate an elevator to go up. Then they'll do damage to Riven, shoot her eyes corresponding to the other team. It's like a back and forth messenger type of deal, which is really cool. And then you repeat that once more, and then you go up. All 6 of you guys, now it's culminated quite literally in an apex of the encounter. All 6 of you guys rotate around the room, stunning Riven, getting her eyes, doing a ton of damage, and then using eye callouts, stunning the correct 6 eyes out of her 10 eyes to stop her from wiping you. You are then descended into some weird, the tube thing, and for some reason, Riven, a space dragon who has like control over reality, hasn't used her wish abilities to cure her dermatological illness, which you then take advantage of, pop her pus sacs and kill her, which is, it's a bit weird, but it's really epic. It's really cool. Then you do it over and over again, blah, blah, blah. You get to the final stand, which is you climbing up to Riven in the Ascendant Realm, trying not to die while it's literally drawing your life force away. You fight her in a final stand, and to just cap it all off, after you finally kill her, you have to literally climb inside of her throat, traverse down to her rib cage, and destroy her heart. It is the most expertly crafted thing I have ever experienced in a video game. Every time I get the chance, I run this thing legit because it is an amazing encounter. It flows super well. There's not a single tedious mechanic. And honestly, this is absolutely the gold standard of what a raid encounter should look like, or at least a final boss raid encounter should look like at all times. It is absolutely amazing. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Once again, if you did enjoy the video, you want to see more videos of this type, more end game guides, more triumph score grinding things, just make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 75,000 subs, and make sure to check in the live stream tomorrow, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern to 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern, to raise money for sick children. It'll be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like rating and to share it with your friends. If you are interested in watching either of the two videos on screen, you can click their respective annotations to be taken to them. If you're brand new to my channel, make sure the giant version of my logo on screen to be subscribed to more awesome Destiny 2 videos and live streams. Thank you guys so much for watching today, and I will see you in my next video.